What is it like living in the capital city of North Korea? Most people on the internet seem to think they know, but I actually went there to find out for myself. I was competing in the Pyongyang marathon, but the following 4 days we visited the city just like a regular tour group. Almost. We got to visit a bowling alley, restaurants, a grocery store, and even the zoo, where I was far more interested in the people than the animals. An important distinction is that everybody in the city needs a permit to go to the countryside and vice versa. So all of my information in this video is going to be about people living inside Pyongyang city, not in other parts of the country, which I believe are quite different. We had 4 guides with us at all times when leaving the hotel, so it did feel like a very monitored experience. But a pleasant surprise was that there were 2 university students with us, which meant we asked all about their phones, dating culture, and even movies. They don't use social media there, and there are only a couple restricted Wi-Fis in the whole country. But funny enough, they do have mobile data and are just as interested in gaming as the rest of the world. The dating culture is pretty conservative, as one would expect, and once they get married, almost nobody gets a divorce. At one point, we asked if they could watch a movie like Shrek, and 5 minutes later, the university student came back after going to the physical movie store to download it. Most of the time, our tour was pretty fancy for my standards, and we got to see some K-pop performances at the lunch and dinner buffets we went to. There was a lot of overlap where our tour crossed the city at busy times, so the highlight for me was getting to see thousands of people going about their normal day in Pyongyang. They have a relatively large subway system, and we got to ride it for a few stops, even though they were actively limiting our interactions with the locals. The same unfortunately happened with most people on the streets we tried talking to. I expected things to feel tense while I was there, but everything felt eerily relaxed. Almost nobody has a private car, so besides a massive number of bikes, the streets are mostly empty. Living in a communist society means that many people don't buy a house, but are gifted them by the government for top acts of service. They also have no commercials, so where we'd have billboards, they have propaganda slogans. Usually, I enter a new country with a very open mind of what my experience will be like there, and North Korea was one of the hardest places to do that. I think mostly because there isn't much information of what's actually happening inside the country. We went to a library with university classes and found out they're free for those in the city, along with healthcare. Although there was a ton of stuff about hating Americans, it did make me laugh that their library computers were running Windows XP and even Google. But unfortunately, it wasn't actually connected to the internet. My perception of North Korea was very different before going there, but all things considered, we are living much more similar lives than different ones to the upper class in Pyongyang. It's unfathomable for most people to live without the high degree of freedom that exists in the world right now. And I had a really hard time diving into the mind of North Koreans for the same reason. But conversations with those different than you are worth having. And that's why visiting was one of the most interesting and worthwhile experiences of my 7-month trip across Asia.